Welcome to DC Direct. I'm Lionel Donovan. In this show, we'll be breaking down the big issues in the U.S., but we want you to weigh in. So feel free to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and reach out to us with the hashtag DC Direct and be a part of the conversation. In today's show, we'll be talking about homelessness in DC. It's the holiday season, which means people are making moves to head home to visit their friends and loved ones. Unfortunately, not everyone has a home to go to. Every day, over 500,000 people in the U.S. don't have a place to lay their head. Homelessness is a problem that's seen in urban areas the world over, and the capital of the country with the largest economy on earth is no different. Homelessness is a serious problem in D.C., with about 124 homeless people for every 100,000 DC residents in the city. The number of homeless exploded in 2009, growing by more than 34% by 2016, giving the city the 5th highest rate of homelessness in the nation. The city government has introduced policies and programs to address the problem, which has helped bring the numbers down over the past 2 years. But critics say that the programs don't tackle the root causes. To get a better understanding of just what those root causes are, we sat down with Josh Leopold from the Urban Institute to get into what drives someone to homelessness.
There's a great deal of income inequality. DC and the surrounding areas is kind of one of the wealthiest parts of the country. There's also a lot of people that either have no income or have very little income. And there's also very high housing costs and a lot of demand for any kind of rental housing. So those two factors combined can push a lot of people into homelessness.
When the housing bubble burst in 2008, many people lost their homes, leading to a spike in homelessness around the country. The government tried to step in, but the programs could only do so much. What were some of the shortcomings of these programs and these initiatives that the government came out with?
The two big programs, right, that came out of the response to the crash were homeless prevention and rapid rehousing. And I would say both of them can be effective if they are, well designed and well executed. And they have different sets of problems. So that with homelessness prevention, the biggest challenge is we don't really know why some people who seem like they're at risk of homelessness stay housed and are pretty stable, and others kind of slip through the cracks and end up homeless. And so because we don't really know who's at the greatest risk, it's a little bit hard to decide if you have a limited set of resources for prevention, who should get them.
While some try to tackle the issue from the top down, others prefer a more grassroots approach and meet the problem of homelessness where it can be plainly seen. Terrence Hobbs was born and raised right here in D.C. As an outreach minister, Hobbs has seen the victims of homelessness firsthand and uses his ministry to provide some level of comfort to the people he comes across.
Homelessness is really, really bad. I think it's a little bit worse than what people really know, because you really have to get out here and be involved with it to understand it.
But even though Hobbs faithfully comes out to Franklin Square to give a hot plate to those in need, he also knows that more work needs to be done, and he can't do it alone.
Mentally, they can't cope with society. So we need a lot of mental health prevention first. Before we can just fix you up, give you something, you're gonna lose it if we have not dealt with the core problem. So we need a lot of people to tap into it, and that goes with the health insurance and everything like that. So you have to tap into the source of why they're homeless before you just dress up the homeless situation and try to put them back into society. Because if you don't fix the situation, you're gonna bring them right back to where they started.
And in the end, the best people to speak about the realities of homelessness are the homeless themselves.
Man. Yeah, I would laugh at somebody a year ago, a year and a half ago. I would laugh at somebody if they said that, man, you're going to be experiencing homelessness. I would have never thought that, you know. And so for people who may think that it could never happen to them, like the old cliche goes, never say never. You know, what if it does happen? You know, then what? You know, it can happen. You know, it can happen from any type of loss. You know, any type of loss. Any. It's a lot of things that can drive a person to end up homeless. Places like this are what gives people that's experiencing what I'm experiencing, is what gives us hope. Is what gives us a chance to go the full mile of making a decision of getting our lives together. You know, because being out there in the streets and not having nowhere to go and being unstable, the last thing you can do is really think about how I'm finna get it together. But then you find a place like this that embraces you with love, brings you in, feeds you, clothes you, shelters you. You know, that takes all that off of you. So at least you can think about, you know, what can be my next step? How can I make a positive impact on society? How can I get back into the positive things in life?
Homelessness is a society-wide problem, and it requires a society-wide solution. Government officials and private individuals have done what they can, but both sides admit that more needs to be done. Yet despite the magnitude of the issue, people continue to work to make sure that everyone has a place to go this holiday season. Well, that's all the time we have today in DC Direct, but please be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at TRT World, and reach out to us with the hashtag DC Direct and let us know what you think should be done about homelessness. Until next time, I'm Lionel Donovan.